What it do, man? So I wanted to touch on this. I've been seeing a lot of this book of Enoch talk that comes up about it being removed from the Bibles, and how it was originally in the Canaan, but how the Emperor Constantine got a bunch of bishops, government officials together and vote on what books were going to be in and out of the Bible. So let's go ahead and touch on the book of Enoch. I've read it before. A lot of it is that people are saying, "Oh, it teaches you about astrology and it teaches you about amulets or these stones, magic rocks, or whatever." Right? Like pretty much it teaches you about sorcery and all these things that Enoch learned once he died. So Enoch, he was someone in the Bible who close to perfect, I guess, as you can get. He never dies, right? He ascends into the heaven, or God sent a chariot for him, or eunuch, however it was. He didn't. It was two people that never died, and he was one of them, right? Enoch was a eunuch or something like that, and he went up. So everyone says, "Oh, why was that book removed?" And they try to give it all this credibility and use it as a reason to be into this astrology stuff. So the Bible speaks very firmly about witchcraft, sorcery, what to stay away from. The book Enoch talks about those kind of things. And, let's just break down why. Well, I give you my understanding of why I believe it was removed from the Bible. If you do your research on the book Enoch, who wrote it? The Knights Templar wrote it, right? You do your research on the Knights Templar, they were pretty much like the Illuminati before the Illuminati. They were the Illuminati from back in the day. They were devil worshippers. They were, pretty much they had their own secret society going on. They wrote the book. I think it's a hoax. I think it's full of crap, because one thing that the Bible does tell you and tells everyone, that the dead does not speak to the living. Let's start there. The Bible clearly states there's a firmament between heavens and earth and hell, the heavens and hell. You cannot commingle. The dead does not speak to the living. So the book of Enoch talks about how Enoch tells you about his experience after death, after dying, what it's like in heaven, angels in chains or whatever, from fallen angels, just all these things. How can he tell somebody that the dead don't speak to the living? Enoch is not an angel. Angels and demons were once angels that fell from the heaven, right? They were never a living species. They are a supernatural being that God created. They can come and they can communicate and they can do things on the earth with God's permission, right? Everything the devil and the demons and angels do are based off of what God allows, right? So he allows them to intervene and do things, right? From a biblical point of view, right? So if you look at that, Enoch ain't told nobody nothing. If you communicating with the dead through a Ouija board, you think you talking to your great aunts or somebody that you knew that died? Nah, you talking to a demon and they know a lot about what happened on this earth, right? The devil, he can't read your mind, but he knows what you speak out loud, right? So that's why you might think you're talking to somebody, but they really just tricking you. The Bible clearly states that to stay away from things like that, or you will perish. You won't inherit the kingdom of heaven if you deal with sorcery and witchcraft, which is why it says that you should stay away from that. It says that like associating with pagan, idolatrous practices and misplaced trust in magic instead of God. There's plenty of scriptures about it. God condemns use of charms and magic bands, and a false prophetess tried to put a magic band on Ezekiel. He was sewing magic bands on his wrist, and God definitely rejects those things. So if you want to go to heaven, you probably should stay away from all your moon rocks and stones. And, I mean, believe in what you want to believe in. I know certain people that claim to be Christian soldiers, whatever, or but they deal with the stones and the bracelets and things like that. But God tells you that you're placing faith in false prophets, false idols, right? And God is a jealous God, and all you need is prayer. You don't need to charge a stone, and I mean, believe what you want to believe in, but you don't need to charge a stone to keep you safe. and protect your energy. All that is just, it's like when Moses went on the mountain and they started building, false statues and things to worship, things people want something tangible. That's the whole point of faith, is to not have something tangible. People want something tangible to try to worship, right? So that's, it's detestable to God. So, Deuteronomy 18, 10 through 14 provides a detailed list of those practices and forms of sorcery and things you should stay away from. So, no, Enoch ain't talked to nobody. He ain't told nobody about his experience from death. I mean, when he comes back, before Jesus comes back, if you believe in the word and what it said, and in the prophecy of the two teachers coming back and teaching about God and Jesus before Jesus actually comes back and reveals himself, since they never died, they're going to come back and teach, and some will believe and others won't, and they'll finally die. They'll have their chance to die like everyone else. But no, the book of Enoch, written by non-credible sources, and like I said, Enoch, he ain't talked to nobody since rising, ascending into the heavens. So you guys could believe in that and all the things that that book teaches you. The devil's always going to try to trick you. He's going to use some truth with a lot of lies and try to trick you into participating in things that's not for you, not of God. And just a way for you to trick you, you know what I'm saying? Put this book in there and have everybody circulating. And that book is really something that you should use to incorporate in your life, because he wants you to get involved in witchcraft, and that ain't what it's about. So y'all out there trying to read everybody's sign, use astrology to tell the future and all that kind of stuff, be careful, because you start drifting into something that's further away from God. The Bible says the more you participate in that, the more it takes you away from God. So something to think about. You can leave, your thoughts in the comments. Y'all can say what y'all want to say about the book of Enoch. I'll respond, and we can go back and forth. We can talk about it. We can break down certain scriptures, and we can go back and forth about it. But you're not about to trick me. I know that the dead don't talk to the living. You know what I'm saying? Not at all.